How's it going, guys? It's Angelo and Chris. We're back with another episode of Music Monday. We're in the 1980s decade once again, looking at a few more really fun acts. So let's jump right into it. First off, we have Cyndi Lauper from February of 1984. We found her in the 1984 yearbook. And this was right at the time of one of her biggest songs ever, Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And we can see by looking in the yearbook that, this was a really big concert for the school. Just two, huge pages dedicated to her with the lyrics, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, written on one of them. So, kind of just emphasizes the weight of this concert at the time. Keeping within that same vein of influential female rockers, we also had Pat Benatar, who played here.
Right. So in the fall of 1980, Pat Benatar came and played at Kean, and this was shortly after the release of her second album, which contained her biggest song, "Hit Me with Your Best Shot," and it was so big and such a hit that the yearbook essentially refused the concert by saying, "She hit us with her best shot, and we loved it." So, got reason to believe that it was a great show that night. And also another instance, similar to Cyndi, where Kean happened to get an artist right around when they were blowing up. And it never ceases to amaze me how many times Kean did that with multiple different artists. It's really impressive, honestly. But moving on, we have some newspaper-related stuff for you guys, starting off with a Miles Davis concert. That took place here in 1987. This writer characterizes the concert by calling it sensational. They note that the concert went almost nearly an hour over their contract, which is pretty cool. Miles and the band gave them quite a treat that night, it seems. They also mentioned the band members that played that night, which I think is really cool because, Miles Davis is so famous, but his band not so much. So it's nice that they got a little dedication there. And at the very end of the article, it reads, Miles Davis attributed much of his resurging fame to the power of television. A Miami Vice appearance in a Honda Motor scooter commercial have put his face back in the limelight. And while this is what Miles thinks, the writer goes on to kind of contrast that by saying, from what I heard last Thursday, it is his music that will always keep him on.
Yeah, good way to put it. And keeping with the student newspapers, we also have an article about Stevie Ray Vaughan's concert here on campus in Wilkins Theater. This is from March of 1984. And, the way that they described the concert, I found it super interesting and unique. They gave him a lot of high praise, but I just want to read this last excerpt at the end of the article. It states, "He plays off the walls, the floor, his face, his back, in pure enthusiasm, without the least indication of the usual pumped-up stage theatrics. Wednesday night was a real sight to see, and I hope we will be seeing more of Stevie Ray Vaughan." And unfortunately, he actually dies 6 years later in a helicopter crash. So, I can imagine being, one of the students who saw this concert and then hearing that news, you'd probably be so shocked and upset by it. But anyways, thank you guys for listening as always, and we'll see you next time in the 1990s.